Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails, a Grand Arena story. Hey folks, I know that this is coming out just a little bit late, and I did try to publish it about a day ago, and it just would not publish. I tried to republish it a couple times, didn't work. So, as some of the references might end up being a little dated, I'm not sure. I'm not going to go back and edit anything, but just wanted you to know. So, this is the video as I created it, and tried to publish it a day ago. I hope you enjoy. Alright folks, it's the start of a new season, and that's great. I'm excited to show you guys this match. First, I do have a couple announcements I want to make that I do at the start of every season. First, I wanted to say thank you to all of my patrons. You guys are awesome. I started my Patreon at the start of last season, and it keeps growing. You guys are so awesome. I really appreciate all of the support. All of this support is going directly back into this channel, and you guys will start seeing the fruits of that labor pretty soon. So once again, thank you so much. I could not advance this channel nearly as quickly as I am right now without your guys' support. So thank you. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. Now, if anyone is interested in joining my Patreon and just looking at the different tiers and what you could potentially gain from it, or if you just want to support me making videos, you can find the link to my Patreon website in the video description below. And that's enough of my self-promotion. Let's move on to Kyber. Now, to those of you who have been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that at the start of each season, after I've qualified for Kyber and made it into Kyber, I do a kind of celebration in my first video of the next season. And that's just to celebrate. I mean, it's a big deal to me, at least, to make Kyber, and I've, knock on wood, I've made it every time so far. I can't take that for granted, though, and so I think it's a good chance to celebrate and, maybe just brag a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying that making it into Kyber makes you a better person, but how sure are we that it actually doesn't?
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
Well, what's that then?
I've heard worse.
You liar.
Come on, you pansy.
Victory is mine. Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left.
Yes, I have.
Look.
Just a flesh wound. Chicken!
Look, I'll have your leg. Right. What are you going to do, bleed on me?
I'm invincible!
You're a loony.
The Black Knight always triumphs! How about you? Come on, then. All right. We'll call it a draw.
I think I'll go for a walk.
You're not fooling anyone, Look, isn't there something you can do?
I feel happy. I feel happy.
Ah, thanks very much. Right. 1, 2, 5.
Lisa! 3!
And now we're moving into Grand Arena Championship 6, which is actually the 7th season, because the exhibition does count as one, or at least that's what I'm counting it as. But I have one other thing I wanted to announce here. I can't believe that I'm making this announcement today, but I'm past 1,000 subscribers, and that is just fantastic. It's so cool. It's a dream come true. Thank you guys all so much for supporting me. I know I've already said that to my patrons, just to everyone who watches, everyone who's subbed, even the people who don't but still want to hang out with me. I just appreciate you guys. So thanks so much for making that happen. I will give shout outs to the people who helped facilitate the escalation of that goal being met so early in my next video. But I just wanted to say thank you, and it's truly exciting. 1,000 subs is a dream come true. So with that, let's get into the match. My first match of this season is against a dude named Left Dog, and I don't know what the deal is with the name. I assume that it's something about, if you have two dogs and you have to choose one of them, you choose the one on the left. But, I mean, it could easily also be something like, my ex-wife took everything, and all I had left was the dog. There's any number of applications to that, if you think about it. I mean, it could even be like a response. It's like, where's Brandon? Oh, he left, dog. I mean, really, it could literally go anywhere. And now that we've accomplished all of the important speculation on my opponent's name, let's look at their stats. Now, we have a pretty similar GP. We actually have pretty similar relics as well. They do have a slight edge in terms of relic power. That's generally an advantage that I prefer, actually. I do have more gear and Zetas than my opponent, but I think the biggest thing is the mods disparity. I have way faster mods than my opponent. They clearly haven't spent much resources, or many resources, on trying to farm good mods, so that's an advantage that I wanted to really push. The other advantage is I just have a ton more lifetime banners. I wasn't sure if that meant that my opponent just didn't care about Grand Arena or what. Looking at their defenses, scouting them, they put things like Ewoks in the past, and Rogue One, things that were pretty easy to take on. And so I was hoping that I was going to be able to see that. In the first zone that I saw, the bottom one, it had Relic Geonosians. That's a good squad. Bosk Bounty Hunters, which isn't something you see very often. You usually see Jango. And then the top, look at this top. It's so ridiculous. This is not Ewoks. It's honestly a little bit mesmerizing. Like, look at all that red. It's so hard to focus on one squad. This is a really obnoxious zone, and kudos to my opponent for creating it, frankly. So the best strategy is almost always, if it's not like a General Skywalker team up top, you just want to focus on the bottom so that you have perfect information and you can distribute your squads accordingly. Now, I'm always looking for an opportunity to use my troopers, and this is a great one. Something kind of weird happened here. I normally have it set up so that Stark goes first, he feeds turn meter to the squad, then Death Trooper goes, and after Death Trooper throws his grenade, and that's really the most important second move, then almost always I have Ranged Trooper go next so that he gives more buffs to the squad, and then the rest of the squad is able to go before the rest of the team. It's a whole turn meter manipulation thing, and it works well. However, it did not happen that way this time, and I'm not sure why. So he threw his grenades, and then Veers went next, and that was fine. I got my big assist in, but then Stark got another turn. I mean, now all the turn meter is all weird. Range went 5th, I guess, but Stark went 4th and 1st. Anyways, this match is a pretty big laughter. Once you can get one kill with troopers, you have to kill something in the first volley. But once you do kill something with the first volley, they gain so much extra bonus turn meter that they just keep going until they wipe the whole squad out. So pretty easy 60 banners, and that's what you're looking for in Grand Arena. You're always looking for an efficient, quick kill that's basically guaranteed. And that's why I froze the frame earlier, just because it was weird. The troopers have never, ever, at any point done that, where Veers went 3rd. So, I just need to be monitoring that. Actually, a very similar thing happened to Indigo in his match, so I don't know if they changed something in the background or what, but something happened. So, alright, next match, Geonosians. Now, normally I don't like to use Traya against Geonosians, especially if they're in a front zone, because it feels like they're trying to bait me out of having Traya available to be able to take something out. But in this case, my other counter was going to be Commander Luke, and I was pretty sure my opponent was going to have a Shock T squad in the back, or a General Skywalker squad in the back, where I would need my Commander Luke. And so, really looking at the top, there's like no other teams that I needed Traya to be able to counter here. So I figured I may as well, and none of these Geonosians were extremely fast or strong anyways. If they were fully relicked, probably would have taken a bigger squad. Now, one thing that I want to point out, so a lot of people see like, okay, I left my 4th or my 5th slot open, so I'm only going to get a maximum of 1 extra banner here. That's not really worth the risk. And one thing I do want to point out, though, is usually, and this is kind of a strange match because they just keep repeatedly attacking Sith Trooper, but normally what happens is they spread out their attacks, and, if you put someone in the 5th slot, then you're not only denying yourself 1 extra point, potentially, you're also opening yourself up to the possibility of actually losing a bunch of banners. If you don't have anyone in that slot, they can't actually be damaged, they can't lose protection because they don't, exist. And, if they end up dying, that is -3 banners right there. And so, it's just something to think about moving forward. I mean, I got 58 here. If I had Thrawn there and he had died, I would have lost, I would have lost 4 banners. I would have gotten 54 there instead. So, sometimes less truly is more. In the back, my opponent did have a Shock T clones team, and they only had a 6-star General Skywalker, so I'd assumed that was the team I was going to see, was either General Skywalker with clones or Shock T, and that's what I saw. So I was glad there was no Ewoks in the back either. I was extremely disappointed. And now it's time we need to take out this red zone on the top here. And, there's a ton of relics here. There's a lot going on. First, the most pressing matter here is they did put their Darth Revan on defense. And it's a full Darth Revan squad. It's not like a half Darth Revan squad without Malak or Bastila or something. And so the first move I always do is you hit Fear on Darth Revan. My Darth Revan is faster by a pretty solid order of magnitude, and once you do that, it fears the entire team, and then their Darth Revan goes, and that's great because then you can fear him again with Bastila, because my Bastila was faster than theirs. And then you just want to kill Marauder as fast as you can, because Marauder will one-shot one of your characters. Pick one. Even if it's Malak, even if it's Relic 7 Malak, that happens. And so, then you just, things kind of go a little bit sideways sometimes. I mean, this match is just pretty unpredictable. Sometimes you can win without taking a scratch. In this case, I was able to kill everyone here pretty efficiently, except HK just randomly died. So -3 banners, 57, pretty great for a mirror match. Even if I'm outspeeding them, 57 is honestly more than you can always expect. So happy enough with that. 1/3 of this ridiculous red zone is gone, and now we get to see this General Grievous squad, which has all the relics and all of the everything. Everything is 6E modded, and it is completely crazy. Alright, so one thing that you're going to want to watch in this match here is a lot of people complain about B2 not getting loaded turn meter and revealing himself before you have Mark. There's a pretty easy fix to that in my opinion. So you have Revan do his AoE, so it hits all 5 droids, and potentially gives B2 some extra turn meter. Then you hand it to Hoda. Hoda trains Grandmaster Yoda, and Grandmaster Yoda then does an AoE. So you have 3 different instances, 11 different hits available for B2 to be able to trigger his special and get bonus turn meter so that he reveals himself, and then you can mark him and go to town. And that's way better in my opinion than just 5. 11 is better than 5 in general. That's how I felt when I was growing up as well, in terms of age. So once you mark B2 and he's gone, the dream is to kill him before General Grievous gets a turn, which I managed here because General Grievous would have taken a bonus turn regardless, or rather a turn regardless, and done his AoE, and then if I had killed B2 after that, then it would have reset Grievous's cooldowns, and he would have then taken another turn and gotten another AoE off. So here I'm just kind of trying to avoid killing Magna Guard, and we're waiting for Revan to get Mark back. And so, I'm just kind of messing around, trying to whittle down this B1 as much as I can. Droidica is too much of a pain to deal with, and you have to commit to be able to killing him. You can't just whittle him down a little bit because he's usually just protected. And so, you do the AoE with Revan when you can, and that, you pick the character with the highest turn meter, so because he swaps turn meter. In that case, it was Bastila, and now Revan got another turn pretty quick after that, and now Grievous is marked. If we can kill Grievous before any of these other droids die, then that's going to be really helpful. We want to reduce the number of turns that Grievous is going to take as much as possible, and that's pretty simple as long as you don't kill any droids. Now, I do give the master's training to Jolee next, and that might seem kind of odd. Revan does a really great job with that master's training. He loves having those extra bonuses, but Jolee likes them even more in this context. Probably not needed because I killed General Grievous so easily there, but the thing that I do want to point out is usually Grievous doesn't die quite that easy. I got good RNG here, and in that case, like, he kills a lot of your team members, and Jolee's a lot of times the only one surviving. And so the thing that you just have to keep in mind is, Master's training is great because every time he does a basic attack, every time he's called to assist, then that reduces his resurrection, or whatever it's called, his revive cooldown. And, it keeps the team alive a lot easier. So it's just a good habit to get into. Not really necessary, like I said, in this particular match. But Jolee should always get the second Master's training. 58 banners against that high relic General Grievous squad. I will take it every single day. Pretty good result. And honestly, I feel like that's probably the worst version of Grievous. Putting Droidica with him. Droidica can do a lot of damage, sure, but I feel like that combination has been solved. I would rather use almost any other droid with him, including Imperial Probe Droid. So, anyways, moving on to this final match here on the top. Kylo Ren unmasked is a very good leader. We have Hux in here at Relic 7. We have Red Trooper at Relic 7. All of these guys are Relict. This is a really rough squad. And I'm taking Padme here for a few reasons. First, so Hux is trying to deny our turn meter as much as he can. Our bonus turn meter is non-existent, however, on a Padme team. It's part of her kit. So that's something to keep in mind. Like, if you have a kit that ignores bonus turn meter, or rather eschews bonus turn meter and doesn't rely on it, then that's going to be a huge benefit against squads that completely deny turn meter gain or bonuses. So now I've killed Hux. That's great. Now we really need to focus down the Red Trooper because he's just a frustrating guy. Every time you kill someone, if he has his Zeta, which he does, then he takes a bonus turn. All of his cooldowns are reset. He's like a General Grievous. That's basically what he is. And so if we can kill him before we kill any other First Order characters, then we're going to save ourselves a lot of grief. Now, I don't know how he does against Padme in general. I've never seen this particular matchup. But I would assume that this is probably just a good matchup in general. Once we take out the Red Trooper, now, there's not too much damage left on this squad. Like, First Order Stormtrooper can hit a tiny bit hard, not really. Kylo Ren unmasked, or rather masked, can do a lot of damage if given proper motivation, but usually he just does his AoE. And so you saw he did his AoE, but I had Retribution up, which meant that everyone countered, and that's great. The only reason it truly is amazing, though, is because that gives healing immunity to both of these guys, and that is huge. That is key to being able to take out the two Kylos. They don't care about courage. They get reduced damage against the courage mechanic, and so they really don't care. You have to do actual real damage to them, and the only way you can really get through their crazy hit point and protection regeneration is through healing immunity. So that did work out for me. I got 56 banners. I thought that was a little bit ironic. That was it's just a First Order team, but they're the ones who took the most banners off of me so far. So in the back, of course, they put their negotiator. They put a lot of strong squads on defense here. we want to clear squads though first, because that's what my mindset is right now. And so I'm keeping this. I kind of dithered about what squad I should take here. I need to take out Shakti, and the pretty conventional wisdom is just to take Commander Luke with 3PO, and then, just like a tank or something like that. But I realized that the top squad there could be taken out using my First Order team. I didn't need my Jedi Training Rey team at all. And one thing I do want to point out here, look at my Asajj. Asajj should have been on defense, and I totally missed assigning her to the squad she was supposed to be on. And so she is available for offense if I need her, which I don't need just her and Zombie. That was a huge fail on my part. So that was great to notice. I felt really confident after I saw that, of course. So, the thing I was getting at earlier was I didn't need my Jedi Training Rey team here at all, and so I was able to just take R2. And that's a pretty nice luxury to be able to take R2 with Commander Luke. You want to make sure that Commander Luke is still going to keep guard. That's really important in pretty much any match that he's in with Chewie. And so you saw the first target that I took down was Shakti. You want to take her out as quick as possible. She does too much for those clones, and luckily we have the squad and the huge offense numbers to be able to actually accomplish that fairly quickly. So took out this high relic Shakti. Then you have to take out Fives, because Fives will sacrifice himself. Otherwise, he doesn't care about Shakti. He won't sacrifice himself for her. But then after that, after you take out Fives, then you can just take out whoever. So 55 banners there. I was hoping for a little more, but 55 is acceptable, considering, all those guys are relic 7 or thereabouts. So, pretty good result. If I had lost that, then it would have gotten pretty dicey, potentially, depending on how many characters remained. Now, I wanted to take, against the Kira squad, I wanted to take my First Order, because Kira Nest just kind of melts to this squad, honestly. And I've been working on them. I wanted to take my Relic 5 First Order Stormtrooper, but in that I realized that I had taken Watt for offense, and just for this reason, he makes this team so much better. Even at just 6-star, he just does a lot of things right. Alright, so the first thing you want to do with this team, Watt gets his bonus turn right away, and he gives the taunting tech to Kylo, and that makes this team almost untouchable. They can be hit with AoEs, of course, but they can heal from that. As First Order Executioner just completely WTF pwns Kira. That was a lot of fun, honestly. And then he got another turn because he had killed someone, so that was cool. And now we stunned Nest, and there's no L3 on this team. L3 would have been such a better choice than Barriss. Barriss is an extremely uninspired option here. No offense to my opponent, though frankly I don't care, because he declined my offer to chat with him and tell him about my the footage that he could watch. So I think this was a very ill-constructed team. The Zalbar and Mission, sure, they're fine on this team. They're scoundrels. They do some really great things alongside Kira. I just don't understand why Barriss is here like that. She's outdated. She's good in certain circumstances, but not in this. This is not a circumstance in which she's actually good. So, we're killing everyone. We're keeping Nest on stun. If L3 was here, she would have been a lot harder to keep stunned. But she's obviously, L3 was not here, and this Nest was only gear 12, and Executioner just executioned the F out of her. It was not pretty, unless you're me on this side, and 60 banners. This could have been a lot harder, but it just wasn't hard. My opponent would do well to reconstruct that team, frankly. Alright, so now it's time for ships. And one thing I wanted to ask you guys is that something you're interested in watching, or would you rather just see the results? I know that there are a few YouTubers who just show their ship's results. They don't actually show the battle. And, I don't take a lot of joy in fleet battles. I would just be interested to know what people here think, what they want to see. And I'll take that as feedback and just move along. But, anyways, where I missed an opportunity here. I filled up my entire ship roster with ships, and I don't need all of those ships. Never have I ever summoned all reinforcements. And now that we have the reinforcement ability, it just magically appeared recently, then undersized wins are really important. And the squads that I was facing didn't really let me take many undersized wins. So this was a good opportunity that I totally wasted. Now this is kind of a tricky battle because normally you're trying to get Jedi Knight Anakin's health to like 40%, and the Houndstooth got a taunt off before I could actually make that happen. Luckily, I was able to get enough AoEs off that I could knock his health down anyways. And the really key to winning this match is it's pure RNG. Honestly, it's just luck. If you can get the buff block onto Houndstooth with Jedi Anakin's AoE, then you're probably just going to win because you can destroy it really fast. And if you don't get it, then it can become a protracted fight and you lose a ton of banners. And that all you can do is just push the button and hope. So eventually, we've been leaving Anakin alone, and he came out of his stupor and was able to just die immediately, which is wonderful. And now, it's basically all over but the crying. Having Ahsoka come in there, I thought that it was going to be Plo, and if it had been Plo Koon, that would have been a lot more difficult, just because everyone would have been healed, including Jedi Knight Anakin. It could have been a protracted fight. Usually by now, my Houndstooth has frankly died. So we're also experiencing a little bit of luck here. I'm trying to, kind of get my health and protection up a little bit, and messing around does me no favors. Like, eventually they do get Plo in, he heals them from death's door, and now I have to worry about, like, man, are they going to get a Y-Wing bomb off on me? If they do, I'm going to lose, a ton of banners. Probably just best to just finish them off whenever you can. And so eventually that's just what I did. Stop messing around. 62 banners, that's great. I always hope that I'm going to get 60, so 62 is wonderful. I wish I had taken an undersized squad, but that it is what it is. 1919 is a pretty good score. The max score, or the soft score here, is 1935, I believe. Alright, so looking at feats, we got 1 undersized win with Traya. That's great. We got 6 wins on the first try. That was wonderful as well. Han and Chewie got a win. That was pretty easy peasy. I got to ignore the Lando thing. Like, why would you ever take Lando ever for anything? So this is the board as it was before my opponent attacked. And this is after they had apparently only attacked one of my teams. I was waiting for more attacks, and after a little bit I realized that they had made all of their attacks. They just weren't very effective. So let's look at my defenses here. You see they left my bottom zone entirely alone, and that is what it is. So I guess General Skywalker's tough to kill, and they did put a lot on offense. They did kill my bounty hunters after 2 tries. They failed to kill my Nest team after 1 try. Failed to kill my Grievous squad, and in the back zone, Talzin is hanging out there with Wampa. I wasn't drunk, but I don't know what I was doing there. So anyways, got a pretty convincing win here. Happy enough with the score. Good way to start the Grand Arena Championships. I'm not really taking any of these fails to heart, though, or rather these fails that my opponent had against my defense, just because if they're going to fail that much against those, they're not like horrible teams, but they're a little bit mediocre. And if they're going to fail that hard, then probably not a great judge of the effectiveness of a defense. So I'm going to leave it here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.